RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What's up? Yo, I'm sitting down. I know. I'm getting old. I'm freaking tired. I just want to sit here and rant. I don't want to have to stand and rant. That's like another thing you're adding on to the rant. And it's not a rant. I don't know. I guess Tom Hartman calls it a rant, so I'm calling it a rant. And yeah, this is Tara Devlin. Thanks so much for hanging out. Unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. And we need that. I don't see anything wrong with that, but apparently that's a big, big trigger for the Republicans. They just, anything decent, anything having to do with democracy or humanity, just being a human being. I know that's kind of a bridge too far for them. I think that they think, obviously I'm reading their minds now, but I can read their minds. I study them. I study chimpanzees like Jane Goodall studies the apes. You guys know it. I basically have a PhD in that. I have a PhD. I think it's my PhD is from Trump University, actually. So what the hell? And yeah, I can make those leaps. Just like if we can have a tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator con man with a fake university as a so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes, I can jump into the mind of a Trumpanzee if I dare. Let me do it. You don't have to come with me. Just be my backup and pull me out if I get in there too deep. But getting into thinking about them, what they think freedom is. What is freedom to a Trumpanzee? The freedom to not give a shit about anybody else but yourself. Also, the freedom. It's really it's selfishness. Freedom to suck up all of the benefits of civilization, but not have to pony up any of the responsibilities. It's all about you. It's like when you're a child. You know, when you're a kid, your parents don't expect you to contribute to the household, right? Maybe when you get older and you're living in their basement because human beings, young people can't get established anymore, then you might have to give them some rent or do something. You know, you can, because now you're an adult. You are useful instead of just being helpful, or at least appearing that way. And that's really, it reminds me of when children are little. Well, is that the same thing? Right, a child is usually little. I know, I overthink it. And there's always feedback going on in my mind. Self-critical feedback. So when you're a kid, when you're an adult and you're teaching, let's say you're having a nice fun day with your niece, as I would do with my niece and nephews. And I have nieces, not just nieces. Anyway, so we would let's make something, let's cook something, have something, some fun, make some cookies. And depending on my nieces and nephews' ages at the time, either they were useful or they were just kind of playing along. Like, okay, here, you can lick the spoon, or you can bang, bang, bang on the pots. You could stir it a little bit. Just pretend you're, just keep yourself occupied while I do all the work. And that really is what it is like trying to have a functioning Democratic Republic with Republicans. They're just standing there like bang, bang, bang. They have the hat. They have the little chef hat on. They have the apron on. But they're not doing any of the work. They're like babies. They're licking the spoon. And we know what that is. It's not just Trump's taint. It's all of that money falling from the teat, from the government teat, and also the corrupt oligarchy. And I know Democrats suck on that teat. That's another story. But the problem is money. Money in politics is the root of all evil, and it's brought us to this crossroads where either we, we get a grip and start, stop pandering to these goddamn fascists, pining for their bipartisan help, like battered spouses pining for an abuser. And that's what it is. And there's so many things I want to say right now. Okay, like, for example, I don't know. We're going to have Thomas Reynolds from FYI Nation, and he is going to call in I guess, around 8:30. Hold on. I'm going to drink some coffee. Delicious. I have a milk foamer. I know. This is the last thing that I'm holding on to as far as being a vegan. Is that a rug or a linoleum? It's a rug. It's a rug. I don't know. Hey, what am I going to do? I'm not a fashion plate I don't live in a goddamn, I don't know. I don't have an interior decorator. The place needs a rehaul. Trust me. It does. It needs a revamp. I need to paint the walls. I need to do a lot of renovations. I'm sick of looking at everything, especially. But I've been so busy, trying to fight fascism. I don't know if you've been paying attention. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. I know you guys have been paying attention, and I appreciate that. And also supporting the show. We have some new patrons, which I thought was pretty kind of cool, baby. Even though we've been hemorrhaging patients. You are like my patients, because I'm like a triage doctor trying to resuscitate democracy over here. So I want to. It's been a while since we were able to do this. I have to tell you, there should be some kind of. Maybe no, I wouldn't do that to you. A reverse, like when somebody leaves, we name and shame them. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. I know it's a little blurry. Okay, tonight's show. I want to thank you for going to patreon.com/Tara Devlin to become a patron, to keep this show going and growing. And without your help, we can't do it. So tonight's show is brought to us by Fred Allen. Thank you, Fred, for taking that leap, becoming a patron, showing the world your support for unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. You're not alone, Fred. You have many other normal people, patriots, who are at the barricades with you, and also a new friend, another one. We have a few. Tonight's show is also brought to us by Tom Waddy. Thank you, Tom. I don't even know what to say. I appreciate it. Without you, we can't keep going and growing. I have to say, it was a good boost I needed to have a few new patrons, because I've been kind of depressed. Not that you are responsible for that, but, and, it just gave me a little bit of hope. Sort of like when we rejected Trump after 4 years of spiraling into fascism, even though we have been spiraling into fascism for longer than 4 years. And also, we have some patrons that returned to the fold. So I want to welcome back another patron, and also say tonight's show is sponsored by Kathleen Loves Nature. That's right. And so do I. Isn't that great? We both love the same things, and I'm sure we both hate the same things as well. So that helps too. And also, again, another friend who is always in Tarabuster Corner. Mark, Uncle Smokey. Thank you, Mark, Uncle Smokey, for always being in the corner. All right, very good. Thank you, guys. We won't go into the deleted patrons part yet. Maybe one day when I'm feeling especially salty. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Because there are many reasons why people may not be able to sustain a subscription, and that's okay. So keep coming back. It works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it, and live it. Because, yeah, whatever. We only got this goddamn life to live. So let's see. How should we start? Thomas is going to call in at 8:30 around. But, so maybe... Because yesterday I was on, not yesterday, this morning, I was on Thomas's morning show. We talked about Joe Rogan. So I don't know if we should repeat that. So maybe I'll just do a little riff on it right now before Thomas comes in, and we can talk about other things. Because I want to talk about Joe Manchin, endorsing Lisa Murkowski, and which makes me sick. But not that Lisa Murkowski's she sucks too. They all suck. They are all fascists, just like Kinzinger and Cheney, except the thing that, Kinzinger and Cheney are all on board with the Republican oligarchy plan, and, they just couldn't stand the lie, this one lie. They took the other lies, and that was fine with them. They were fine with him, coming down the escalator saying that Mexicans were rapists. That was good. That was good for them. And everything else, the very fine people, and they voted for that. They like that. And the other thing I have to ask, you know what? One of the things that pisses me off is how the corporate media never says, or specifically says or articulates what they're actually talking about, like all of the great things Trump did. Like what? Name one. Name it. When he says, Republicans will say it. Well, I supported all of the president's whatever policy. Like, oh, okay, he stuffed some unqualified judges onto the bench, despite receiving fewer votes, of course, for himself, but also in spite of the fact that Moscow Mitch, otherwise known as the gravedigger of American democracy, wiped his ass with the Constitution to do it. Oh, that was wonderful. And what else? Because they want women dead in back alleys. That's the other thing. You don't hear the corporate media articulate, or even Democrats. Never go back at these fascists when they say they're the party of life. The party of life. And they're talking about birth. That's what they're talking about. The party of birth. And once you're born, you're on your own. If you're a clump of cells, that works to their benefit because they want to send you into the back alleys and murder you. Because the fact is, abortion rates go down under Democratic policies. That's a fact. Why don't the American people know this? So when Republicans say we're the party of life, the best that response you can muster is an eye roll if you're being polite. Really. And the American people, what great things has Trump done? Name it. Okay, he funneled more money into people's pockets at the top 1%. He didn't do a goddamn thing. If you were on the other side of Reaganomics, if you're on the wrong side of the ladder, and that meant every one of us, except for the 1%. He picked your pockets. His tax giveaway to the 1% eliminated tax breaks that normal working people have come to rely on. And then any of the benefits of whatever you might see in your pocket initially, because this is what they do. They will give you, they'll front you, but then when you're leaving, they pick your pocket on the way out the door and you're like, oh, wow, what happened? But they just played a shell game with the American people. But people, see, I guess they're stupid. They don't want to know it. But why don't the American people know that? Like, they took away the deductions for teachers, for when they shelled out money and supplies for their classes, that deduction was taken away. It's not enough that we have to find a rich benefactor to trickle on us if we want a functioning school. But now they get the teachers coming and going. So not only do teachers have to endure being screamed at by unvaccinated morons, and also vilified by right-wingers as they inflict fascism on the country. Now we have to, now they can't even write anything off on their taxes. The whole thing is sick and corrupt, really. And I have to ask, how much longer are we going to take it? How much longer? We will take it up to the point where the American people understand and are educated about it, because they have us so goddamn divided and twisted, and that's by design. That's on purpose. But the other thing they did, for truckers, now all these truckers up in Canada are screaming about freedom. You ever notice how Republicans, when they scream, that's all they do is scream about freedom. But whose freedom are they talking about? When we want to be free, when we want to have the freedom to not go to school, to go to school without being infected with a deadly pandemic, or maybe having little Johnny or Janie bring that virus home to Granny, because Granny's living at home since, we don't have decent retirement security in this country. I mean, the whole effing system is rigged and backwards. But that's republicanism. And another thing I wanted to talk about was the Dan Bug. I know, you guys know I have problems sometimes talking or saying words. Dan Bog. I can't say this guy's name. It's so annoying. Dan Bongino? It just doesn't want to come out of my mouth. You know who I'm talking about, though. Dan Bongino. It's really irritating to myself. I do. But, anyway, he did his whole segment about how it was, just like everything else Republicans do, it's exactly backwards. It was a segment on how Democrat-run cities are the least healthy, when it's actually the exact opposite, of course, of effing course. And the other thing, okay, now that this just came into my head, now that we're talking about it, because of course the statement, of course they talk about Democrat-run cities, and on the corporate media, I've been noticing lately that whenever the Republicans release, they call it a press release. It's like when somebody passes gas, and everybody has to, I don't know, normal people just have to pretend it doesn't stink, I guess. And so the corporate media is editing it instead of pointing it out and saying that they wrote Democrat, whatever, this Democrat legislation, this Democrat runs whatever. They will say Democratic. They won't repeat it, but they won't point out that this whole thing is like a little baby schoolyard taunt that these babies inflict on us. It's like babies having a tantrum constantly, everywhere. And I mean, really, prove me wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I want to finally see Republicans acting like adults and mustering the maturity that is required to function in a free democratic society. And come on, corporate media, catch up. Take this and run with it. It takes a level of maturity to function in a free democratic society, a level of maturity that the Republicans just don't have. And it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve democracy to try and drag us all down to their levels, or even to excuse it, to excuse the Republican level of immaturity. It never stops. And it's not just the fringe anymore. It's all of them. They're all sick. Sick. I mean, for example, let's, I said I was going to talk about, what's his face? Joe Rogan. But we will also talk about Glenn Younkin attacking a 17-year-old, because this is who they are. They don't see a difference. They have never matured past the schoolyard taunt. Let's go, Brandon. Oh, that's a real policy that I would love to be implemented in America. I mean, these fucking morons. You see what they've done to this country? Now it's investing itself into, it's going across the border and it in Canada. But it proves exactly what I always say, that we don't have the corner market on stupid. That's for sure. Except here in the United States of serfs and lords, we let our stupid run free. And we enable it too. We say, oh, okay, the stupid is on the same level as the non-stupid. I'm so sick of them. I just saw this whole other Fox News, and it's not news anymore. How can we stop with the fucking news, corporate media? It's not news. We know that. But they were saying, oh, first they say vaccines, we can't get COVID with vaccines, and now they say we can. First they say masks, cloth masks are fine. Now they say they're not fine. This is like my little nieces and nephews coming up with an excuse about why they, painted on the wall or something. You know what I mean? First you said it was okay. Now it's not okay. Which is, it's like, Johnny can do it. Why can't I? That's their whole policy. Then they'll say, oh, look, here's Mayor Adams not wearing a mask. Or after saying that kids should wear masks in school. Well, so because Mayor Adams, not that I'm a fucking fan, but he said that we should wear masks in school or whatever. So here he is walking without a mask. Well, Johnny can do it. Why can't? But talk about in context, out of context. Of course, these are the same people who are now defending Joe Rogan because we're taking the N-word out of context. Right? The N-word is taken. And I'm so sick of the whiny, white privileged white boy. And I guess I will do this we'll talk about it a little bit. If Thomas, if you're listening, hang tight. Hopefully you're not exhausted and feel like passing out. But I figured I'll just do this before. You know what I'm saying. I'm repeating myself, but that's what happened. Okay. Joe Rogan, it is really a symptom, just like Trump is a symptom. And we know how sick this society is because the likes of Joe Rogan and others of his ilk get a lot of funding to what? To spew bullshit. Wait, I lost one of my applications. Here we go. And so, you could say, you're jealous. I'm not. It's not jealousy. Sure, I'd love to be well funded like that asshole, but I'm not selling my soul here. I'm not. It's like what I told you the story about what Hannity said to Malloy. that, oh, you're still doing that liberal talk, the money's in conservatism. And just today I saw another video someone posted about Joe Rogan at the beginning of the pandemic. It was a clip of him going, talking about how he hopes when we get a vaccine that vaccine morons aren't going to ruin it for everybody. And here he is. Do you see the disingenuousness? And also so they were all like, oh yeah, he could say whatever he said about vaccine mandates. And let me reiterate to all of the traitors who might be passing through here, this country, America, wouldn't even be a country if not for a effing vaccine mandate. When George Washington mandated the Continental Army be vaccinated in a time when that required being cut under the skin with an infected knife. Why don't the corporate media explain this? Of course they don't, because they're too busy doing polls. Who's up in the polls? What idiot thinks what? How you could take a poll about shit, and what they're doing is taking polls. This is what the media does, and you're not adding anything to the conversation. You're not educating people. You're just taking a poll about what people feel, and it's a poll of their ignorance. And nobody's asked to back it up. Even when they say, oh yeah, I believe the election was stolen. 90% of Republicans think it was stolen. 80% of Democrats think it wasn't. It's like, who cares? Who cares if stupid people believe lies? Whatever. Educate them. Use that time. And now I'm screaming into the microphone again. I apologize. Use that time to educate people. Who cares what they think? You know? Why don't you, corporate media, take my advice. Watch the BBC. Watch any other foreign news outlet. And then when you're done weeping for your integrity, just follow what they do. You know, there's news from all over the world. Not just in your stupid, myopic little town. Or let's check in with the Trumpanzees, who are all, and to go back to friggin' Joe Rogan, so that's the symptom. The symptom of the problem is him. He admits, he's like, I'm stupid. I'm a stupid white guy. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just me getting high with my friends and talking about shit. Well, I'll tell you what. Go back through all of the Tarabuster episodes. Try to find the N-word. You know? And he says they've taken him out of context. How is it in context any better? All that is. Oh, and the other thing is the white people saying, well, I hear rappers saying the N-word. Why can't I say it? First of all, there are a lot of other words you can say, booby. Why do you need to say the N-word? And the other thing is, it's another example of white privilege. Oh, you fear, and it's the fear, of course, too. Fear your privilege fading because somebody says, so you can't say the N-word. I mean, the fact is, you could say the N-word. Who the fuck? Why is this? What is goddamn playing in my ear? Hold on. One of the 20,000 links I have open. Son of a... You hear this? I'm Lindsay. Welcome. Hold on. Ugh. Welcome to my nightmare. Now what? I was just on a good rant, too. Bing, bang, bunga, bunga. You hear this shit in my ear? Where is this fucking coming from? Bunk, bunk, bunka, bunk, bunk. Oh, it's, look at my hair now. Thanks. Thanks, autoplay commercial. Why why must you do that? You know, nobody likes that. Now I have hair in my face. I blame everyone. Bunk, 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 gunk, gunk, gunk. You hear? Shut the fuck up. Oh, okay, well, whatever. Bunk, 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 gunk, gunk. I was on a roll, and now I forgot. Okay, well, it goes right back into here. The article that was playing this ad was from ABC News. Spotify CEO says canceling voices is a slippery slope as Joe Rogan backlash mounts. Well, and others are saying, oh, if you you want to leave Spotify, come to us over here because we have $100 million for you too. And now the assholes on the right, of course, the fascists are they want to own the libs by really saying the N-word. I mean, what's your problem? Fine. They're saying that it's silencing Joe Rogan, but I don't know. Joe Rogan doesn't have like Twitler, the constitutional right or whatever to be on Spotify. That's your choice, and it's your choice to spread this malinformed, misinformed, big asshole, and that's what he is. And he's not even an intelligent asshole. And one of the things I was talking about with Thomas yesterday, this morning. Why do I keep saying yesterday? Is because it felt like a year ago anyway. But we were discussing Howard Stern. I used to listen to Howard Stern. I enjoyed Howard Stern. People used to say, "Why do you like him?" Because he was smart. He's not just some white asshole talking bullshit with his white asshole. It's like a bunch of frat boys who are uneducated. The educated frat boys are even worse, but I think the uneducated, they're all a bunch of assholes. I mean, sitting around talking about sexually assaulting a wannabe comedian, laughing that the female comedians were being sexually coerced to give Joe Rogan's friend a blowjob to get stage time, and they're all laughing and laughing. But of course, that's boys will be boys. And then the N-word. What are you doing saying the N-word? And other right-wingers are saying, well, this was 25 years ago. They're taking it out of context. I even saw a comment saying it was taken out of context in a time where saying the N-word was acceptable. Well, where do you live? You know, it was never acceptable. Of course, I guess it was acceptable in the South. In some places, I'm sure it still is. That's their problem. That's why they don't want a democracy. They don't want a multiracial democratic republic because their real problem, it's not that they don't want health care. They like it. They want health care for themselves. It's not like they don't want living wages or education or retirement security. They just don't want to share it with other people of darker pigment. That's it. It comes down to racism. It always has. And the Republicans know it. That's why they don't want to have any kind of truth and reconciliation, like in South Africa. All of the necessary steps to having a more perfect union. They will stand athwart, yelling, "Stop." Like William F. Buckley, right? His conservatism stands athwart history, yelling, "Stop." Oof. Let me see. What is this shit? Oh, look, because I told you I have what is that? I'm on the conservative Reddit page just to monitor, for my Trump NZ studies. All day, I'm getting pinged with oh, Rogan gets this. They really, that's their hero. Their hero is besides the tax cheating, draft dodging, wannabe dictator, traitor, con man with the fake university and the vitamin scam. They have this bloviating, ill-informed, malinformed, real willfully ignorant moron as their hero. You want to know somebody? Look at their friends. You want to know somebody more? Look at their heroes. Look at who they look up to. And tell me, are we dealing with rational people who are capable of functioning in a multiracial democratic republic? They're dumb. They're effing dumb, and that's their birthright. That's what they think. They think being a willfully ignorant cuss is that's their freedom. They don't want anybody telling them to evolve or some liberal or and that's why they get they get this whatever return on investment they get from owning the libs. That's why. It's because they know how inadequate they are. And anytime they so-called, own the libs, they feel smarter, even though they know they're not. They're not just not smart. They're not educated. And they think that's something to crow about. And rather than get themselves some education and not be stupid, not listen to Joe Rogan, honestly, I was going to make excuse. If you want to listen, no, I think if you listen to that, I don't know, there's something damaged. All right, that's what you like. It's sort of like I don't watch. What do I guess everybody has their guilty pleasure. I'm thinking about the Real Housewives or something. That's that too. It all sucks, but whatever. That's capitalism for you. They don't care if this whole country burns. As long as they can suck profit out of the ashes. Hold on. Let me see. So it says Rumble over Rogan. 100 million over 4 years with zero content restriction. Oh, that's what the platform is called. Rumble offers Joe Rogan 100 million over 4 years with zero content restriction. Oh, so he's owning the libs. Yeah, that's it. He got to say the N-word, and even though he's so sorry about that. And he also, if you saw the video, what's that? I can't remember her name now. I couldn't remember it this morning either. The artist who released the video of all, and she made a great point. She's like, look, whatever, you want to support him, but as a musical artist, 3 cents of every dollar I make goes to Spotify, and they use my artistic talents and that revenue generated to give Joe Rogan $100 million. And this is why I'm not going to support that. Why I wouldn't support it? I'm not on Spotify, and I never was and never will be. But not that they care. I know they don't care. Maybe one day they will, but no, this is liberal talk. There's money in conservatism. Being a dumbass gets you paid because there is a vested interest of the oligarchs who own this country, and the American people are too dumb to know it. But that's their vested interest. They want us divided. They want assholes out there saying the N-word and other people getting riled up and, defending it rather than learn. If that was a grown-ass man saying those words out of context. Oh, and then he told the story about how he and his friend were high and they wanted to go see Planet of the Apes, and then they got let off in a neighborhood that was with people of darker pigment. He's like, oh, I'm in Planet of the Apes. Now we're in it. Ha 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 ha. And he's saying that story, his justification was that story wasn't racist. It turned out to be not a racist story. It was the exact opposite, because he and his friends went there and they had a great time. So it turned out to be a good story of not racist. That's what he was saying. And other people, I haven't heard anybody else mention this, but in the background of that particular video, you can hear one of his cohorts making noises like he's beating drums or going like from Tarzan, like making those sounds like ungawe ungawe or whatever the hell that used to show, but mocking, like he's like, oh, ungawe, Nobody pointed that out. Oh yeah, but it was supposed to be a good story where a grown-ass white man sees that. What is he saying? He's having a good time. But also, it's very dehumanizing. Oh, he saw the goodness when he was entertained by people he just completely demeaned with a racist ass stereotype that is beyond offensive and outright dehumanizing. Jesus God, this is where we live. And now I can't even go to Canada at this point. What a bunch of assholes, right? That's it. That's my scintillating commentary. What a bunch of assholes. Whew. Let me see. Who's on the chat? Oh, Bob Saget is here. Hi. I don't think that's him. And thank you. Who put... I see some super chats came in, but there's no list. That's very bizarre. I usually get a list. I'm showing you right now. Look. See? There's nothing there. No new super chats. And it says that there were some super chat revenue right here. Maybe there's a glitch in the matrix. Let me see. Maybe I can scroll up. Oh, I see. Well, I can look at it on the chat. So thank you, Richard W., for your super chat. Another great show, Tara. Thank you. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. I should have known it was you guys. No matter what, I should have known. So, Thomas, are you there? You are there. Let me unmute. Hi. Sorry.
Yes, I'm here. I've been waiting. It's okay.
No. You know what? I could show you. I don't know if you could see it, but on the call in studio, on the tab, it says 0 calls. So I'm looking at the tab. That's why I'm like, okay, I guess he hasn't called in yet.
Yeah, no, I was sitting here waiting patiently. It's all right.
Very patient. Oops, wrong button. What am I doing here? I'm trying to get you. Go ahead. Sorry, Thomas. Sorry.
It's okay. We had a great show yesterday, and I really, I love that you helped me.
Not yesterday.
Get the ball rolling yes, I'm even doing it, but you're doing it.
This morning.
Oh, God. This morning we had a great show. It feels like yesterday.
Right.
I'm still recording for the first half hour. It's no secret that I record the first half hour for the morning show. And
all right.
I did a story.
So it was
about,
yesterday.
Yes.
All right. Let's be honest. Why? I can't lie. I can't lie to the people. We recorded it yesterday. And
yes,
okay,
and
I'm sorry.
It still feels like yesterday. Either way, it's okay.
Right, it's okay.
Because I think I said that we were doing that anyway for the show.
Right.
Because, frankly, you helped me get through a 2-hour show.
No, thank you.
By doing that for me, which was amazing because I didn't think I'd be able to do it, and I went maybe 5-10 minutes early than I should have. But I put on some other liberal stuff that we have, some liberal clips, and went out that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I really I realized that this, like I taped 15 minutes just before I came on the air with you. I'm going to tape another 15 minutes when I get off the air.
Okay.
More about the GoFundMe scandal that's erupted over the. I don't know if
What
you know
happened?
about
No.
the Freedumb truckers.
Oh no! Yeah,
this,
right. I wanted you to
these crazy-
explain this to me. And before we keep going, I just want to
Yes.
say we're talking with Thomas Reynolds from FYI Nation, and he's the host, founder, creator, and also he has a morning show called the Call-In Show. Right? Is it Call-In still?
Well, no. Well, we changed the name to the Nosy Liberal.
Oh, that's right.
So,
you son of a bitch. Now I got to change that fucking lower third again. Oh shit.
It's okay. I'm a pain in the ass.
All right. Anyway, it's
I'm
a
pain in the
morning
ass.
show.
I'm good at it.
Right.
It's a morning show.
All right. Anyway, can you explain this whole trucker thing and to
Yes,
me?
I can. Basically, these guys up in Ottawa are pissed off because there's a mask mandate,
Right.
and so they're all honking their horns and acting a fool because of it. And apparently they decided we're going to raise money on GoFundMe, and they raised a bunch of money, like over $9 million, because conservatives have money to throw away, I guess. And GoFundMe released a statement on Saturday, and I get into it on the story on tomorrow's broadcast. They released a statement saying what we're going to do is you don't follow our terms of service, so we're going to refund the money to charities you pick, but we approve of. And Ron DeSantis, being the dickhead of Florida that he is, freaked out about that. And was like, oh, no, you're picking the winners and the losers.
Oh,
Poor
Jesus
me.
Christ.
We're being attacked. Yada, yada, yada. I'm going to send the attorney general after you.
Oh, my God.
So,
it's just so tedious. Yeah. Go ahead.
in the same breath, GoFundMe, being the wonderful capitalistic thing that we have, said, okay, we're just going to automatically refund everybody and make it simple.
Well, they should have done that
Because they got
anyway.
afraid
Why?
of-
Yeah.
I agree. That's what I said. I don't want to give too much away for this morning, but that's kind of what I said. But I went into my little regular tirade. I don't know for your listeners if they get to listen in the morning. I went on my little tirade of how this is bad with capitalism and another symptom of why capitalism is so bad in our society. That this GoFundMe even exists.
Oh, please! I know.
And it's horrifying to me that it's a part of the economy. And the fact that I go into, and we can have a talk about this if you want, that these people don't read the fucking terms and conditions.
Well,
they sign
that's
them,
true.
They
Right.
don't read them, and
Right.
then they act like the fucking victim.
Right. I mean, it's sort of like I have to say, who reads the terms and conditions? You know what I mean?
True.
But I hear you. They just cry victim all the time. Anyway, it's completely tedious. They're children. It's like babies. That's what it is.
It's the poor me. Yes, it's the poor me syndrome. It's the what about me? Why me?
Right.
Oh my God! It's like Olivia Soprano.
Right.
For Christ's sake.
Totally. That's
you
what
know,
they are too. Right. That's
Yes.
right.
There are a bunch of Olivia Sopranos. For those who don't know the
Right.
Soprano reference, Tony Soprano's mother, and she would always talk about children and them dying.
Yes.
And how they fell off a ledge or got pushed.
But she was always a
Horrible death.
victim, as much of a
Yes, and
bitch
she was
that she
always
was.
the victim.
You're right, and just a
Yes,
horrible
and she was an
person.
absolute
Yeah.
person. Yes. And she made everybody miserable.
Right.
And she wasn't happy unless she was a quintessential conservative.
Right.
She's fucking Ayn
Oh,
Rand.
totally.
She is Ayn Rand.
Right, totally. And she would pretend to be sicker than she was to get sympathy, right?
Yes.
And then also
Yes.
just be very cruel to her children, and she fucked them up, of course.
And when that scene where Tony Soprano falls running away from his mother
right.
because
And
of how cruel
she
he is,
laughs.
and he drops the gun, and she laughs at him dropping the gun because the gun flew out of his holster, and he had to grab it to hide it. And she's sitting there laughing like a mean old witch. I mean, total conservative. I mean, if you're going to talk about conservatives, they're not even Karens. We need to call them Olivias.
Well, I think it might. I mean, it's good if it doesn't really, if you have to explain it.
I know.
It's sort of like defund the
I know.
police,
I like explaining it, though.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm totally okay with explaining it because then I could go on a half-hour sprint about how great The Sopranos was and why I love it so damn much.
I know you do.
I mean,
I know you love it. Right. I mean, you love. I know. We had a conversation about this once before. I used to watch The Sopranos. I like it. I think it's good, but I just didn't like all of. I mean, it got a little bit.
The violence.
Yeah. Well, just the misogyny, and it would get to me.
Oh yeah.
Like women getting smacked and shit.
I understand that part of it. Right. I totally get that, and I understand that part of it coming into it from your angle on it and anybody else's angle on it, where it was a very misogynistic show.
Yes.
But if you take it as a gangster show and you accept that these people are exactly the way they are, and that's how they are, you can have a lot of fun with it and kind of omit that.
Right.
And that's what I did with it, because I'm also a huge Star Trek fan, which is the total opposite.
No, I know. Well, I don't. Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't know if
let me rephrase that.
Go ahead. Say again.
Sarah. It's night and day from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Although there is one episode that even the actors in season 1 will admit they never should have taped.
Which was
and
that?
Never should have
on Next Generation.
Yes, on Next Generation they did this episode. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like first season, and it was all black guest actors, and they visited what was supposed to be an African planet, and the Enterprise was trying to get a virus, and they made the women fight to be able to get the vaccine. Wow. It was so cringe. And every actor on the show was like, I wish I never did that.
Like, don't put that on the compilation DVD.
Yes.
I love that.
Throw up in your mouth.
Right. I watched every episode of that, of Next Generation, actually, when it was, I guess after it was on or whatever, because I had an accident when I was younger. And I broke my leg, and I had to get screws put in my leg, and I was laid up for the entire summer. My friend Jack gave me a big bag of VHS tapes of every Next Generation. Yeah, and I watched it from the first episode, and it was kind of entrenched in my mind, and I started dreaming about it because I would just watch it all day. And it was, I guess, I don't know how long. It was how many seasons? It was
7 seasons, 3 or 4 movies.
It was
and
good.
then they did the Star Trek Picard recently,
right,
which is in season 2.
Do you like that?
Ironically, I love it. I am such a dork, though.
Cool.
But Whoopi Goldberg will be in the season 2, ironically enough.
Is she playing the same role as
Diamond?
Okay.
Yeah, the same role.
Well, is it true well, you can look that up. Let me ask you a question. As far as Tony Soprano or James Gandolfini, am I correct in remembering that according to people who knew him, that the character of Tony Soprano really upset him? Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually
playing him.
It really bothered him. He had to basically going to
like a detox.
How to describe it?
Yeah.
But he had to decompress, basically.
Right.
Because it was so hard for him to do, and in all accounts, too, he was a wonderful man.
Right.
As far as outside of the show and everything else. And by the way, the episode name was Code of Honor. It's episode 4.
Oh, wow. Wow. I guess that's when they were still getting their sea legs, right? Yes. Not quite finding a voice.
Yeah, and in an awful, awful way.
Right.
I mean, it's just one of those episodes where it's so cringe. It's just like...
Right.
And the funny thing is, the one character that does the fight scene, the whole season you're wishing for her to have more to do, and this is what they give her. It's like, oh, God,
right. This
tell me.
be careful what you wish for. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of horrible people, you know what I wanted to talk about? Well, we're talking about politics. If we had a functioning democracy, this is what we could talk about on our podcast.
Yeah.
You know, we could talk about pop culture and cats. You know, always go back to cats, really. But did they have any cats on Next Generation? I forget.
Yes, Data had Spot.
Oh,
Data's cat
that's
was
right.
named Spot.
Right.
And he lived through the crash of the Enterprise in the movie. In the
Oh.
first movie, he was found in the rubble by
Oh,
Data.
good. I remember the episode when Data got an emotion chip, and then I
Yes.
thought that was cool.
Yep.
And because then he couldn't, he flipped out at the end. He couldn't handle it, and Captain Picard told him to grow up. You know.
Yeah, basically, it's like, get over it.
Yeah, that's the way it is with Republicans, though. But anyway, to get back to what we're talking about, really, we're talking about these babies, and it's like work or living with, having to have a functioning society with a bunch of babies who don't want to grow up. They don't want to learn. They don't want to evolve. They don't want to learn to live with other people. That's why they love Joe Rogan, because he is a spokesperson for willful ignorance, and it's working for him. That's
and the other thing too about Joe Rogan is we talked about this before on the show, is that several times he and Donald Trump and all these other Ron DeSantis all give them a pass to be as bad as they can.
Yep.
Because they're not going to get any spanking for it. They're not going to get any discipline from anybody. So let's just do what we do. It's like Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Oh God.
I'm blue no matter who. We all need to vote for Joe
Oh,
Manchin.
God, I know.
Joe Manchin can go and say, you know what, Lisa Murkowski,
I know.
she's my gal.
I know. And we could talk about that now, because we were going to talk about that too. For those who didn't see, I don't think you can hear this video though, Thomas, but you probably know.
That's okay.
You know it already, because I was waiting for the ECAM people to send me the thing that they said there's a way to get the Skype guests to hear the friggin' videos, and I'm still waiting for it. But let me just play this. It's Joe Manchin endorsing Lisa Murkowski. Ugh, exactly. And why doesn't? Oh, of course, it doesn't have any audio. I probably exported it without audio. That's great. Wonderful, Devlin. This is what happens when you're, when you're doing it all. We're doing it all. Anyway, so Joe Manchin said, I'm trying to find the article now because we could just read about it, but he said that he's endorsing Lisa Murkowski because she's his friend, and they get things, they like each other, they are working. Why shouldn't I endorse her? So what? She's got an R. We used to be able to do things. That's the way it used to be. This is what he was saying to the CNN people, and the CNN people were chiming in saying, yes, like so-and-so. But here's my opinion on that. We know that Joe Manchin is a phony asshole, because this is not, whatever time CNN was pining for, that's not this time. So if Lisa Murkowski, and I said Lisa, I live in New York. Lisa Murkowski. Oh no. Hold on. Something else just started ringing my ear. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Did you hear this shit all of a sudden?
Yeah,
Ginny Thomas's. Why is... Oh, it's ABC again. I have to... This is what happens. When you have a browser open, all of a sudden a commercial will start playing, and I have 50 friggin' windows open, so I don't know where it's coming from. So it's very annoying. I hate when that happens, and it only does it. It's, I guess, ABC is doing it now. Who else was? Oh, The Hill does that. That's why I never leave a Hill browser open.
The Hill browser.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so,
I use the Hill on my phone, so I can view it.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. It's like now I have to remember not to keep ABC open. So Joe Manchin, let me see. His whole fake ass bipartisanship is not what's going to heal this country. This is what I can't stand, and also why the corporate media is useless. Because they're cheering this too. They're like, oh my God, I'm looking at let me show everybody what I'm looking at. This, oh fuckity fuck. It's not smooth. I know it isn't smooth, but that's why we love it.
Well, neither is Joe Manchin.
Right. Well, look, I just Googled it. Manchin crosses party line. Look at them, like hugging, looking at each other. Look at all these these articles praising it, but it is pointless in a country where the 80% are living check to check. People can't save $400. Millions go bankrupt because of medical illnesses. This is not what's going to fix what's broken. And the fact that he's perpetuating this myth is only going to delay, and I guess this is part of the point of him. It's a distraction. It's not. There's no as if this is some kind of win, so we can feel good. If we're not feeling good, he's feeling good because he's once again posing. This is it's bullshit. He's sucking on the corporate teat. He's sucking on the government teat, of course, and this bipartisanship with somebody who is part of the problem. We're not talking about years ago how things used to be. We're living in a country where the American people, like I said, can't save friggin' $400. Where the rich are so rich, they're masturbating on us in space, with a dick-shaped rocket. Yeah, and this asshole is saying,
that's a big deal.
Right? Well, that's what he did. You couldn't even if somebody was writing a comedy, they couldn't have written it as far as the dick-shaped rocket. I mean, he literally had a giant dick rocket, and was like "F you" into space. Anyway, but this it's fake. It's a fake win from this professional scold that's who Joe Manchin is, who's constantly telling us how he's warning us about an entitlement mentality. Who has more of an entitlement mentality than him? He thinks he's the effing president, and standing in the way of policies that people not only want but need in a country that not only wants it but needs these policies. In order to have a functioning democracy, we need a functioning and economically vibrant working class, not somebody giving us some fake ass win, but from phony ass bipartisanship. Who cares? Be bipartisan. That's not the problem. I'm so sick of that shit. And it's the Democrats constantly are the ones perpetrate. I don't know why perpetuating it. They constantly. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're right, because the problem here is you would never get this so-called bipartisanship from the Republicans.
Right.
By the way, John McCain is dead. I'm just saying. And,
right.
And
we all will be one day. Right. Sorry.
And Joe Lieber, and it's okay. And Joe Lieberman isn't much better of a guy than Joe Manchin.
Mm-hmm.
These two Joes.
Oh God, yes, Lieberman.
Much different.
Ugh. Another one.
That so-called bipartisanship that people like the WAC lovingly about is just a joke. I mean, maybe in the 80s when the Democratic Party had control, but still, they bent over backwards for Reagan.
Yes.
Reagan, of all people.
Right.
They gave him... They gave him tax cuts. They didn't. They laid down when he fired the strikers.
Oh yeah, I remember that when I was little, but I remember.
He did all this.
Yes,
and he's a demon spawn.
Right.
I'm sorry. There's nothing else to call him. And they vilify people like Jimmy Carter, who's the salt of the earth.
I know.
And who would do bipartisanship if it any way possible.
Yeah. A man of peace. Well, that's why they hated Jimmy Carter, and they still do, and they vilify him. He was an actual Christian and still is. Yes. I remember reading a story or something from like the New Yorker about the how the evangelicals turned on Jimmy Carter. They backed him in the candidacy because he was open about his religious feelings, but he was also not he wasn't a fascist, so he wasn't trying to merge church and state, and he understood the line of separation, and the evangelicals turned on him in the first year of his presidency because they began to realize that he was an actual Christian. Like he's not talking about gay bashing. He's talking about, feeding the poor. Yeah. Love your neighbor, peace, and making this a more perfect union. And that's why they vilify him, and they vilify him to this day. And really, the thing that really pisses me off, besides everything else, is the Democrats who jump. They jump on board with the vilification by their silence too. All those years, they never jumped in and defended him. You know what I mean? No. They threw him out too. They cut their losses.
You're right, and I don't see any Jimmy Carter Airport.
Right.
Washington,
oh
D.C.
God.
There should
be.
Right. There should be.
Right.
But I don't see one.
Because he was right.
I don't see any Jimmy Carter public schools. The last Democratic president they had to name a school after was John fucking Kennedy, and the only reason he got that is because somebody put a bullet in his skull.
Right.
That's it.
That's right.
If he just went on to be another two-term president, we would not revere Kennedy in the way we do because of what happened to him.
Right.
Let's be honest about it. Let's, for once, be honest about the situation we're in.
Yeah. Well, you know that right before Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, that the John Birch Society were distributing leaflets that called him, everything but a mother's son, and a traitor, right? So they're the same people up to the same old Republican dirty tricks as always, and then it's division. That's what they want. They want the country divided, no matter what. So that's why they give the voice, they elevate the platforms of people who are stupid and spreading divisive misinformation. They don't. I mean, thank God we didn't have these assholes when FDR, when we were distributing the polio vaccine, right? Thank God.
Yes.
Because these fuckers, I told the listeners that because I monitor the conservative Reddit page, and I couldn't help myself. I had to respond to one of their stupidities because they're stupid and they're liars. So they banned me, but I can read it. I can't post on it. I mean, I guess I can on a different account. It doesn't matter because I posted the truth, So I said, wow, you people, I talked about George Washington mandating the first, he was the first tyrant, I suppose, mandating a vaccine when people had to be sliced under their skin with an infected knife. So these assholes can't get a little beep, beep, ouch, oochie, ouchie. You know what I mean? It's like they're such babies. Right, a Fauci ouchie. Wait, I dropped my phone. And anyway, but the conservatives, they blocked me off their page. But the other thing I said to them, I guess this was mean. I said, too bad. I wish you had come to your vaccine, the tyranny of vaccine mandates much sooner, because there'd be a lot less of you. You know, why did you take the polio vaccine? Why did if you were too young to resist, your parents must have been tyrants. Why did you take the measles, mumps, rubella? There are like 16 different vaccines you have to take by the time you turn 18. And then if you go to college, meningitis or and on. And now all of the sudden vaccine mandates are tyranny. And if we went back in time, they would be on fucking iron lungs, these assholes, some of them. You know what I mean? It's the truth.
Well, I don't feel bad.
No, I wish they were.
I've gotten to the point where I've gotten to the point where I have no sympathy for these people. I know.
I don't either.
I have sympathy for people who are just struggling and trying to get by and go through the issues and maybe don't know better. But I have no sympathy for people who can find the information, who are diving into this type of QAnon, crazy talk, and listening to Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump and all these vagrant assholes. I have no sympathy for them. And if they go, goodbye.
Yeah, go.
Goodbye.
Go.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. That's what I was thinking, because when I was looking at these assholes in Canada, and then our assholes, and then the idiots here that are like, let my children breathe. And then they're turning their kids into the biggest dicks, just like them. And I was thinking, well, what are you going to do? Maybe it's time to, I don't know, let them have their own fucking school. You don't go have your classes in somewhere else. Then I don't know if that's the way it is. I guess we'll have to separate. Why should somebody who doesn't want their child to get infected or infect others and gives a shit about other people and wants to teach their child the e pluribus unum, it's not just all about me, then I don't know, let them fucking have their own class somewhere and have the normal people in one class, and have the morons, they could go to their own class and let them, I don't know, teach them about Jesus riding a dinosaur if you want. It's unreal how they are.
He uses a whip,
what's that?
He uses a whip when he's riding that. Jesus uses a whip when he's riding that dinosaur. I want you to know that.
Oh, they hate Jesus anyway. Right. They hate Jesus. Anyway, that's what it is. They really do hate Jesus, and they hate everything that Jesus ever stood for. Jesus was put to death by the conservatives. Never forget that.
Yes.
It was the it wasn't Pontius Pilate. It wasn't the Romans, because that's why Pontius Pilate washed his hands. Right? Okay, you want him dead. I wash my hands of this situation, because he was going to let him go. And they wanted him dead because he was cutting into their pay. That's what it was about.
Yep.
And in fact, during the when he came to town on the donkey and all that, there was some big I don't remember now. I'm trying to remember the whole. It was one of the things that people had to do, Jewish people at the time. They had to purify themselves. I think some still do in a bath, or it's some Orthodox thing.
Yeah.
And these rabbis were charging buku bucks for this. And Jesus was like, no, you don't need to do that. You don't have to pay somebody for this. You don't need to pay a gatekeeper to your enlightenment. So it was about cutting into their money. And he was the radical. He was a progressive. Of course. They always execute progressives. As we see, show me right. Exactly. Show me a conservative. Anybody have an example of a conservative being not that I'm saying that people should do this, but is in history, how many conservatives have been executed or assassinated, let me say, by liberals? Because they're always talking about how violent liberals are, and it's them.
Yeah.
It's them. They're projecting their own shit.
At the Cupids.
Right, but, exactly.
I have to take my
All right.
next 15 minutes.
Get the
for
hell
my
out.
half hour.
Get out. I'm only kidding.
I want to compliment you, woman.
Oh, okay. I can't help it.
Don't be Olivia. Don't be
terrible.
Olivia.
Right.
Jesus.
How dare you? All right. It's hard. I can't. That's what she said, huh? All right. Yeah.
I love coming on. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
I hope that this helps
Yes.
FYNation.com, because you are a great supporter of ours. And I thank you again for coming on
Thank you.
for today's show and yesterday to be able to help me do today's show, because
Of
it was
course.
fabulous.
Yes, and thank
As
you.
always.
Thank you for hanging out, and everybody loves you, so you will be back.
Aw.
And I love you
All
too.
right.
Thank you.
Oh, I love you too, Tara. You have a great night.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thomas Reynolds, everyone. Remember to tune in if you're tired in the morning and you don't, because you're tired of hate watching Morning Joe. Tune in to FYINation.com and hang out with Thomas, and you can call in and start your day that way. Wait, hold on. Where is... Now I got to get rid of the lower third here. Boom. All right. I just saw in the chat, where is this? Jonathan says they're going to lose the midterms. Watch. Yeah. If this happens, we're done. We're done. Democracy's done. That's another reason why the corporate media is useless. Again today on the corporate media, the so-called liberal media, that CNN and MSNBC, they're projecting that the GOP is going to win the House or the Senate. And say it. Keep saying it, assholes. Keep on reiterating it, because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why are you saying this? The Republicans are projected to win. Who fucking, where are you getting this information? First of all, but why are you repeat? Oh, I know where you got the polls, up in the polls, down in the polls. But that doesn't, does it mean you have to, that's what you do constantly? Just hammer this self-fulfilling prophecy home? Because what it does is it depresses the vote. It's when people think, oh, this is not even going to matter. Why should I go and wait online for 12 hours? That's what they're doing, these assholes. That's what they're doing. Why? Because it's goddamn lazy. And also, it's another example of the mixed message that we constantly hear from the corporate media, as they're talking about Trump being an existential threat to democracy, as he is, on one hand, and then the other hand, they're like, oh, the GOP is going to win. And if that's the case, maybe they should frame it like the existential threat to democracy that it is. Like, if they do win, we're done. Stop enabling them and covering for them. They are fascists. There's also something very wrong with them fundamentally. They're spiritually sick. And, of course, in order to be, the spiritual sickness is evident. That's why they are what they are. These loud scream, and that's all they are, just loud, stupid, often gets loud, right? Because it doesn't have anything else to fall back on. They go for the pejoratives, let's go Brandon, all that bullshit. Let's go Brandon. What the hell is that? It's infantilism. That's what it is. Infants. ugh, God, but nobody is adult enough to tell them to shut the fuck up. Especially Joe Manchin. My God. And Kristen Sinema is another one we know, but it's there you go. The corporate media made those monsters, really, because they give them attention. Why are we here? What is this Joe Manchin asshole? Did we, elect him president? Could that asshole get elected in a national election? No. Then shut the fuck up. What the hell? Hold on a second. I want to see something. Okay, wait. There's dumb. They're dumb. Okay, well, speaking of dumb, let's do the Dan. Let me try to say it. Bongino? Bongino, okay? Did I say it right, finally? Dan Bongino. I hope I didn't export all the videos I exported today without sound. I hope. Let's see. Okay, this one has sound. This is this is how stupid Republicans are, and this son of a bitch, especially Dan Bongino. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying. You know who I'm talking about. Where is my eCam? My beautiful eCam. Here we go.
Right? Inner cities run exclusively and monopolistically by garbage Democrat politicians who don't give a damn about people. They're the ones that ran these...
Democrats who don't give a damn. Okay. You have a point with some of them. Don't give a damn about people. I highly doubt it. Some of them maybe don't give a damn about the existential threats to democracy. I don't know if it's not giving a damn. I think that they are, they need to retire. You know what I mean? They're living in a world where, it's like the post-Reaganomics world and the Reaganomics world, some of them, especially, what's her face? Well, Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein and all that. I mean, retire, please. I mean, people are like, well, for example, what's her face? Nancy Pelosi. There is some other way of looking at her announcement to run for election again or re-election, but because some people are saying she's just doing that because she doesn't want to be a lame duck in the House. And I see that point, but okay, whatever. We'll talk about that later. I thought she also, the other thing, I thought she said she was going to retire, right? Isn't that the next Democratic speaker would not be her? Okay. Anyway, well, here's the so-called right wing, as Joe Biden said, the silos of information. Some people go to Fox, some people go to MSNBC. It's not the same. MSNBC, when they're doing a poll, at least it's going to be accurate. And if they get it wrong, they'll fix it. Here's an entire segment from Fox News based in utter bullshit. In fact, everything that this son of a bitch, propagandist, fascist mouthpiece of autocracy is talking about is backwards. It's exactly opposite of what he's saying. Here we go.
Economies in these inner cities into the ground. In some of these cities, they haven't had a Republican elected in 4 or 5 decades.
Yeah,
Two
that's
Americas.
why.
Yeah, you created it. An America where you can get a job and an America where you can't.
Get a job. Didn't Joe Biden's first year, this month, the jobs report was out of, there's not even a historical comparison. Okay, let's continue.
And let's not forget about the health care either. You go to some of that.
The health care that Republicans could give a shit about, death panels. They're too busy lying to people than worrying about giving them health care like the rest of Earth. We'll have to have another segment on Fox News or any of the propaganda outlets about how we have the best health care in the world. Well, guess what? We have the best anything in the world if you have money. We have the best dick-shaped rockets that go to space. Yeah, if you have money. I have access to those rockets too. If I had money or something that garners Jeff Bezos I don't know, some sort of something that humanizes him. You know, if somebody was mean to me and I couldn't do something, and he's gonna take me to space because I couldn't go, or if I was on a top-rated TV show that took place in space. Other than that,
you still look at some of the health outcomes in some of these inner cities that these Democrats have run.
What are they talking about when they say inner cities? What do you think? What's the image they're trying to evoke? Is it sort of like what Joe Rogan said? Yeah.
Monopolistically.
Whoops, I hit the wrong button.
In America where you can get a job, and in America where you can't. And then let's not forget about the health care either.
You go to some of
you still look at some of the health outcomes in some of these inner cities that these Democrats have run.
It doesn't matter what the reality is. They'll just paint the picture of American carnage when they're the American carnage. You know, it's like what Trump on his disgusting inauguration speech, his fascist, embarrassing speech. I mean, it was written by Stephen Miller. That's all you need to know. A racist asshole. They're all racist assholes. American carnage stops now. But everything is American carnage. So no matter what happens, no matter the reality, if there's American carnage, you better believe it's coming from their side of the aisle. That's for sure. American... just showing this segment was... because if you work in TV news, they have... If you're an actual journalist, you have journalistic standards and practices. There are people who check the scripts. You don't just write a script and go on air. There's a chain of command. There's the producer, then the executive producer, and there are fact checkers that have to run things through. You have to have them checked, and they have to be approved. And if there's a mistake, it has to be corrected immediately or as soon as possible. And you go through those layers of approval so you avoid putting out lies. But I find it hard to believe that this segment was a mistake. The fact is, they want to put out lies. And they do put out lies. And that's why the American people are dumb and divided. They have a choice here. You don't have a choice about what happens, but you have a choice of how you deal with it, right? No matter what the situation. And they're reconstructing American carnage to shove into the brains of people who are benefiting from Joe Biden's policies, who don't get a goddamn thing from Republicans at all. The same people, you better believe, who are truckers. One of the things the truckers, now in this kiss up, kick down gig economy, people, the truck drivers themselves, like other industries, I should say, are all independent contractors. They're not hired. So they have the whole burden is on the trucker. If your truck breaks down, oh well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and marry a billionaire. Or they used to be able to write off mileage and write off the gasoline and whatnot. Not anymore. Thank you, Trump. That's Trump, and I bet you these effing idiots don't know it. And if they know it, if they've been told, they'll say it's fake news. Well, I guess until they get the tax bill. And all of Trump's taxes, the GOP tax scam, any of the provisions that benefited actual working people, not just billionaires who jerk off in space and their friends, all of those provisions expire. So, but none of the. It's like what's his face? George W. Bush. It's the GOP tax scam, except it's worse because that GOP tax scam made income disparity worse, and now we're on the verge. We're so divided as far as income disparity that we're tipping into fascism. Fascism cannot take root in a country where the working class is economically vibrant and upwardly mobile. It can't. Where in a civilization that is funded, where education is funded, not on property taxes that create silos of, you want to talk about silos of information, it creates ghettos of information where, well, that's deliberate. People with darker pigment, like in inner cities, like this douchebag is talking about, get bad schools, while white people get good schools. White people who are able to build intergenerational wealth thanks to being able to, like for example, the GI Bill, where people with darker pigment were excluded from the provisions that enabled them to build intergenerational wealth. That's by design. What do the effing assholes on Fox News do or know about this? They know nothing. And now they know even worse, because this is worse than knowing nothing. They're being malinformed. And that's what that's what we know. The studies show people who watch Fox News are less informed than people who watch no news at all. So this is what being less informed is. Somebody deliberately taking statistics and turning them on their head. And you see how passionate he is about it.
Monopolistically for decades, and you stand a pretty darn good chance of dying in one of these inner cities,
Unreal.
Far more likely than if you lived in areas where they gave a damn about people and their health care.
Who gives a damn about people in their health care? In red states? Are you effing kidding me? In fact, the red states are the most abhorrent. On top of their disgusting medical outcomes that are on the wrong side of human decency, they have death by despair going through the roof.
Outcomes.
Why?
And then you have education. Don't even get me started on that one. That had its own unfiltered, unfiltered.
Oh my
but
God.
You get.
Saying I cut it off. Education. You want to talk about education in the red states? These are people that they're taking books out of libraries. You know what book stayed in the library, though? In these places, they took Mouse out of the library, and what else? The Bluest Eye. Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf is not on the list of books. I saw this list of one of these fascists. Well, they're all fascists, of course. These Republicans, but this this filthy fascist. Well, they're all filthy fascists. What am I talking about? He had a list of 160. Oh, it was a 16-page list of books he wanted removed from the library. And not one of those books was Mein Kampf. Not that, hey, whatever. I don't need to read that. The ramblings of a racist asshole. That's why I don't watch Fox News. But, so, well, let's get back to Dan Bong, whatever the hell his name is. We can talk about that other one in a minute. But, like I said, this asshole, he had it exactly backwards. You want to talk about places where they actually give a shit about people? Would that be, let's see. Hold on. What the fuck? There it is. This is from the Daily Beast. From Zachary Patrizio. Fox News host Dan Bongino aired an inaccurate graphic attempting to make the bogus correlation between unhealthy U.S. cities and those governed by Democratic policies. During the Saturday Night Unfiltered segment, casting liberals as unhealthy, Bongino, I did it, presented a graphic reading top 10 most unhealthy U.S. cities. Yet, it turns out there was one big problem with this thesis. Wallet Hub, the website the Fox News host cited for the graphic, clearly stated in their research that the metropolitan cities referenced, including Seattle, Portland, and Washington, D.C., among others, are the healthiest places to live in the United States. Bongino riffed to his audience about inner cities run exclusively and monopolistically. I don't know why it's funny how they rail against things that they are the advocates for. It's just like Henry Wallace said. They claim to be super patriots, or they claim to be the I can't remember what he says, but they claim to be for free markets. That's right, but they're the spokespeople for monopoly and vested interest. That's exactly. What do you mean monopolistic? You want to talk about monopolistic? These effers, he's talking about Democrats are running cities monopolistically, and these assholes want a monopoly on illegitimate Republican power. They need it so much because they're inadequate and they hate democracy that they are destroying every democratic institution or the pillars of democracy, including education and e pluribus unum. That's how we know they hate America. If they didn't hate America, they wouldn't be attacking Black Lives Matter. They would say, okay, let's talk. If they don't understand why Black Lives Matter or why people are outraged, then they would want to listen and heal this country. Instead, they pour salt in the wounds all the time. That's all they do. And honestly, they're really prolonging the agony. This is the death rattle of their, of them. Not literally. Ugh. Maybe Trump, hopefully. I am legally and peacefully, of course. Bongino riffed to his audience that inner cities run exclusively and monopolistically by garbage Democrat politicians. If it's such garbage, asshole, why are you lying? Why do you have to lie? Why don't you just say the fucking truth? Why are you telling your dummy, mouth-breathing morons who tune in deliberately to Fox News, the idiots who hate America, who hate their fellow Americans? They hate everybody, as long as if they have darker pigment, they love you if you're just like them. If you say, "Let's go, Brandon," while you're sitting around cashing your socialist security check, thank you, liberals. I'm so sick of them. They don't even have the maturity to simply say thank you. You know what I mean? They want all, like I said, the benefits of society, but they want none of the responsibilities. So, and that's why these right-winger, these oligarchs they need to be knocked off their perches legally and peacefully, because you see what they have cultivated. This is all because of them. They own the media. They own the platforms. So when they have exclusive monopolies on, you want to talk about monopoly, like Fox News being able to blast its bullshit into the same market as the Rupert Murdoch owned New York Post. And we could make all across the country, we can make those examples thanks to the Telecommunications Act that used to be illegal. And the American people don't realize that the reason we used to protect not just the journalists, but the media, and protect it from monopolies is because it is destructive to democracy. But even the Democrats don't want to, they don't educate people, their own people like that. Hold on. I see that the damn camera is blurry. Maybe it's better that way. If you're, okay, all right. If you're on, this is a good time right now. You know what? To become a patron. All right? It's a good time. It's always a good time to become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And, okay. Or join us if you're on other platforms. Come over to youtube.com/C4channel/Tarabuster to hang out with the cool people in the chat room. And thank you, Errol Thomas, for your super chat. Why is it so difficult for Republic clowns to acknowledge what us liberals stand for? Yeah, it is, because I think the Democrats have problems acknowledging it too. And also, you know what it is? When I was thinking about this, so 40 years ago, we can trace the decline of the American working class to, the middle class. From the middle class to the working poor in 40 years, we can trace that to Reagan's doorstep. But Reagan won 2 landslide elections. He won every state but one state, right? So to the Democrats, that was, instead of fighting for what they believed in, or if they believed in the New Deal, and using their power to ensure that the American people remained the most upwardly mobile with the slightest income gap, they jumped on the Reaganomics bandwagon to win votes. And they never seem to, of course they never do, they never took Harry Truman's advice, saying, he warned them back in the day that if the voters have a choice between a Republican or a Democrat who acts like a Republican, they're going to go with the genuine article every time. So don't pretend, don't be Republican light. Don't just, I don't know, act like them. Act like you have the courage of your convictions, if you have any convictions. To me, it's, it's craven. They're craven and selfish. the whole system is. We know that it is set up to attract the worst people, but it's only gotten worse thanks to the continual whittling away of any stopgap. You know what I mean? For to attract the better people. Any campaign finance restrictions have been chopped away at, just like they have chopped away at the pillars of democracy, like education, like living wages, working class, and it's so depressing that the American people don't seem to get it. That they tune in to the oligarch media to have their biases and their stupidity validated, rather than I don't know, understanding that it's the oldest tricks in the book. That's what we're witnessing. The most radical act is to turn that shit off. But they're not radical. I don't care how loud they are, how they go, I'm not taking a vaccine. You're not a radical asshole. You're just an asshole. I saw another video of people going to school, right? Young mothers taking their kids to school, and they had, I mean, you might have seen it too, and they have these mask holes screaming at them, "You're abusing your kid." The trauma continues, right? That's what the that's republicanism, conservatism. As they constantly go on and talk about how everybody wants to shove things down their throat, how we're shoving it down their throat. They're shoving, like for example, we're shoving the it's them not being able to say the N-word is being shoved down their throat. You know, that's what we're doing. We're shoving pre-existing conditions protections down their throat, right? That's what we're shoving down their throats. But what are they shoving down our throats? Indecency, division, stupidity. They constantly have to shove that down our throats. So if a mother wants to protect her child by telling her child to wear his or her mask, they can't handle that. They have to go out and meet those children and their mothers on the road as they're walking down the street to school and scream at them. Show me where liberals do that. You know, I don't give a shit about these filthy fascists. They don't have to join in our reindeer games. Go home. To homeschool your child. That's your choice. But you see, once again, they don't have the integrity. They want all the benefits of civilization with none of the responsibilities. And that's what they're teaching their little brats. The future goddamn Timothy McVeighs of the world. That's what they're doing. They hate America, and they basically, of course they hate America, because they hate everyone in America. They do. If you can't say that you're a patriot and you love America if you hate everyone in it. And, so right-wingers say, well, you hate conservatives. Well, I do, kind of. I mean, that's personal, though. I hate them personally as a thing. I hate cancer. You know? I hate that. Like I hate the racist assholes like Joe Rogan. But we're not operating out of hate. We're trying to get these idiots health care to ensure that they don't have to go on GoFundMe to beg on the side of the internet superhighway with a sign, "Oh, please, I need diabetes medicine." Only in America. So I'm not trying to. What are we trying to shove down their throat? So they can have living wages, retirement security, decent working class lives, decent union jobs. or jobs that abide by the union ground that unions make possible. They think that the middle class was created because some billionaire wanted to jerk off in space and trickle down some shit on it. I mean, that's that whole other thing with trickle down is another. We've talked about it on the show before, but it really bothers me. You don't hear this shit on corporate media when you're talking about trickle down. That in itself is insulting. But they won't. I see people on the chat talking about Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough and whatnot. But you don't hear that on Morning Joe. Why won't, when they go on a rant, why don't they say, isn't it really, it's kind of insulting that we have this term, trickle down? It's also, it's sort of like the American people have learned to hate themselves. We hate ourselves so much that we will take a trickle. You're dying of thirst, but, oh, please, trickle. No, I don't need a glass of water. I need just a trickle. Oh, you might have a goddamn ocean, and I just need a trickle. I'm goddamn about to pass out here in the least upwardly mobile, with the widest income gap country where the majority are living paycheck to paycheck. 80%. There's more than a majority. It's a super majority. And can't save $400 for an emergency. And, it's okay. I'll take a trickle. What? A trickle on this. Trickle on my leg and tell me it's raining, right? That's Reaganomics. Trickle. It is offensive. God damn it. It's offensive. They're all, and you know what's more offensive is it's the learned helplessness and the dummies who will they support it and enable it and repeat it because they think that makes them closer to the billionaire class somehow. That's how racist they are. They would much rather envision themselves and delude themselves into thinking they're temporarily embarrassed millionaires than working people who have more in common with each other, no matter what pigment, than you will ever have with Jeff Bezos or any of the Koch brothers, or on, or the Mercer family, those douchebags. Douchey bags, man. All of them. Oh, if you want to pay more taxes, why don't you? Well, dummies, I know you're all longing for, I'm talking to the Republicans, of course, not the normal people, but all of the, I know you're longing for the good old days, for its strict racial hierarchies and misogynistic social mores, but you'd never seem to long for the 90% top marginal tax rate, or the 35% unionized workforce, or, the trade, tax, and tariff policies that built the American middle class. You certainly pine for, billionaire approval, like a goddamn battered spouse pining for an abuser, but okay. Oh, okay. There's so many other things to talk about, too. I didn't even finish Dan Bong. We're not going off the air yet. We got a couple of things. I in my mind, I just, cuckoo. I just remembered, you know what I saw? Just wanted to show this picture, if I can find it. That's why I need a producer. A producer that is human, not a feline. Where's my producer? Oh, he's sleeping over there. The producer is sleeping. He looks so cute when he sleeps. He's got a little smile. At least he can smile when he sleeps. I'm looking for this picture of Trump. I know, he's gross. And his fascist, sick-ass son, and his future fascist grandson, or maybe not. Maybe he won't be a future fascist. I hope he rebels. That's why I always wonder, why don't you rebel? None of these Trumps rebel. You know why? Because they are inadequate. You notice Mary Trump, she's the only one, because she can stand on her own 2 feet. But they're just a bunch of greedy pricks who have nothing to offer the world. Mary Trump has an education. She is able to have her own practice. I think she's a psychiatrist, if I'm not mistaken. And what do these assholes have? What do they have? What does Ivanka have? Ugh, wait, Trump Jr. grandson picture. Where is it? You have to see it. That's why. Why can't I have a better show? It's all right. It's okay. I was watching... Who was I watching earlier? Jeff Waldorf. And I noticed that he had some pretty wide silence gaps in there when he was looking things up. And I thought, hey, I should just shut my face and not have to... not explain it while I look shit up. To me, I feel like, uh-oh, there's some dead air. So I gotta keep going, gotta keep talking, and I do keep talking. Oh, here it is. You see? It passes the time. I want to show you this. Look at this picture of these three people, I guess. Some of them are people. Some, I mean, they look like people. More will be revealed. I don't know yet about this young kid, but that's the son on the I don't know, on his left, our right, and that's the grandson. Anybody notice something weird about this picture? I wonder if he charged $5,000 each for the photo. Because it basically looks like another photo op with a donor. That's his grandson. And for those on the podcast who aren't seeing this photo, it's a picture of the 3 generations of Trumps. With the dim Fuhrer in the middle with a thumbs up. What's with that thumbs up bullshit, too? All these fascists and their thumbs up. Is that the new white power symbol? Well, it's a substitute white power. No warmth between any of these human beings, these so-called human beings. This poor kid standing there. Trump with his fake-ass smile in the middle. The drunken drug addict, the unrecovered addict. The poor, I mean, he's not poor. He's in active addiction, I have no doubt. He's sick. He hates himself. But he has, I'm talking about Trump Jr., he lacks the courage to get help because his father hates him. And if he gets help, he'll hate him even further. And more, if that's possible. It's sad. Trump is a sociopath. He doesn't care about his child except how his child makes him look. And you better believe if Donald Trump Jr. was an active addict and out there publicly making, showing himself to be the addict that he is, he would be cut off. He would be disowned. You better believe it. That's why it's also annoying, well, besides everything else they do, but the Republicans attacking Hunter Biden constantly for being an addict. Now, Hunter Biden is in recovery. But they always, and he had the courage. I don't know Hunter Biden, but he's not an official advisor to the president. And he had the courage not only to get help for his problem, he had the courage to talk about it and share about it and use his experience to help other people. But they take that and they twist it into something to be ashamed of, as they always do. They own the libs. Meanwhile, they're all across these red states. These assholes are dropping like flies from opioid addiction. You know, they do it to me, too. We were on the show one time, and one of these fucking wastes of human DNA started attacking me, you know, saying, don't give Tara any super chats. She's just going to spend it on heroin and things like that. Because they take your I don't consider it a weakness. There's nothing to be ashamed of. They take your whatever they think, and that will shame you, and they use it. Meanwhile, they don't have the courage to be human, or to get help, or to share their human experience to help other people. But in fact, they don't shame me. They shame themselves. But they're too sick to know it. They shame themselves and they denigrate the entire human race. But look at this kid. That's your grandfather. He doesn't even he knows not to put his arm on him, lean on him. It's bizarre, frankly, isn't it? He's standing there with a fucking thumbs up next to his grandson. All right, kid, get in here. Thumbs up. And I'm sure if we zoomed in, we'd see nothing but dead eyes. Dead eyes all across the board. That poor kid has dead eyes because that's his grandfather. It's insane. But there you go. There's your beautiful, wonderful people. There's your Christian party of life. There's such parties of life, aren't they? They don't have no life in their goddamn souls, but that's your party of life. A life that hates life. Life that wouldn't give a shit. They wouldn't fucking pull a hair for life. That's too inconvenient for them. Party of life. We're up to... We passed 900,000 people dead. That's your party of life. And they can't get a little oochie, fouchie, ouchie. Or vaccine. They can't wear a mask for somebody. Oh, you're being, you're being conditioned. Who's being conditioned? Nobody's being conditioned. But I have to tell you, democracy isn't a given. So you gotta throw you're in this together. You throw your lot together. The system that they want is the system where everyone is on their own. And that's the system the founders rebelled against. So we have to, everybody's in it together, except you're in it. You're not in it together. You're in it for the lords. You're in it for your betters. That's the old system that they rebelled against. And that's what they're doing here. They want us at each other's throats so we don't get together and demand a country that works for all of us. And in that country, this is what these fuckers don't want the idiots to know, is that the idiots at the top, they'll still be able to get rich. They'll still be rich. It's not about everyone sharing the same things and owning the means of production. It's about regulating capitalism. There's nothing radical about it. In fact, regulated capitalism is what built the middle class. FDR knew it. The people who, I guess not everybody, but at the time, people understood. Like what Justice Louis Brandeis said: you can have democracy or you can have concentrated wealth, but you can't have both. That's why I don't understand the Democrats. Why doesn't Joe Biden say that? We can have democracy or we can have concentrated wealth, but we can't have both. I don't see how, is that hard to get, conservatives? Oh, socialism. What's socialism? Explain it. Give me the elevator speech. You're so enlightened, Republicans. Tell me. They wouldn't know. They don't. Oh, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene explaining it. Hold on. Oh, that's the wrong one. Come on. I hate when I do that.
What should not be put over all of us is something called a vaccine passport. A vaccine passport that Americans would be required to have in order to travel,
look at the dead eyes.
To events, to buy and
to go
sell.
to events,
now,
to buy and honey, go. You could go to your events. Just get away from my events. Wait, hold on.
Big, powerful corporations that will enforce these policies on you. Because you see, if Democrats pass this law, well then what will all of us say? We will call them communist. We will call them fascist, right? These are the names we will call them.
Wow. We will call them the exact opposite terms because we will call them whatever we want to call them because we're dumb and we don't know what the fuck we're calling them anyway. We've been propagandized by a bunch of billionaires who own you want to talk about owning the means of production, they own the goddamn media. It's communism. We will call it communism. We will call it fascism. We will call it whatever shit word. I don't even know what I'm calling it. But I know that it makes me sound like, I'm saying something and I'm not saying a goddamn fucking thing because I was hired by the people of Georgia to be a professional troll.
But if the companies do it, then it's a company policy and they're just saying, oh, this is to keep everyone safe. When you fly in the airplane, you need your vaccine passport.
Well, just like, Marjorie Two Toes, if you come into a restaurant, you're like, I demand to be served. And they look down, they're like, Marjorie Two Toes, you're not wearing any shoes. I'm sorry, no shirt, no shoes, no service. So get the fuck out. I don't see. Oh, that's communism. That's fascism. I don't know what you call it. That's what you would do. If you don't know what to call it, Two Toes, then go home and get educated. But ignorance is their superpower. Like racism.
Oh, if you're going to come into the football game or the baseball game or the concert, you need your vaccine passport because we're trying to do a good job to keep everyone safe. This is what the Biden administration is trying to talk to these private companies into doing.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
Let's analyze that. You see, it's still the same thing. It's still fascism or communism, whatever you...
It's two fucking things. You realize that fascism and communism are the fucking opposite things. It's amazing how dumb. I don't mean to yell, but it's a stress release. No wonder I have fibromyalgia. I live in this goddamn country. Well, why don't you leave? I don't know. There's a good GoFundMe page for you. Go for it.
Want to call it, but it's coming from private companies. So I have
These people are so twisted. Okay, what's the difference between communism and fascism? Margie Two Tails? She doesn't know. She doesn't know. And it goes to show you, yet again, the corporate media, will the corporate media educate these people? No. Of course not, because the corporate media is the billionaire media. It's the oligarch media. They want to keep people dumb as Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who votes for her? You know what I mean? They vote for a goddamn con man with the fake university and the vitamin scam. They vote for this thing. They vote for Lauren Boebert, the stupidest, one of the stupidest. She is vying for the stupidest. Lauren Boebert got her GED like 2 months before being sworn into Congress. And she's out there railing against the pointy-headed liberals in university. And she failed it 2 times, her GED. Because they're lazy. They suck. They want, just like in civilization, they want the benefits, but they don't want the responsibilities. They want the accolade. That's Trump. That's all of them. They want the pats on the back. They want the award. They want Nobel, right? Nobel, because Trump was jealous. Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize, which honestly, I don't know why, but okay. And but that made him jealous. They're a victim. He's a victim again. Everybody's a victim. So get a Nobel Peace Prize. Don't be a dick. Don't be a fascist prick. Maybe you'll get a Nobel Peace Prize, but they don't want to work. Just like Trump, he didn't want to get his degree. He didn't go to school. He didn't go to class. He paid people to take his tests. They don't, because he's stupid. How do you leave university? He always likes to say, I went to the best universities, but you don't know where to put an apostrophe. You don't know the difference between Y-O-U-R and Y-O-U''re. That's how we know he never went to class. If you went to university, if you had to write a paper, if you had to read a book, you would know that. But he doesn't. So we know he is a liar. They want all of the... It's like, I was telling you, when I watched that Bill Cosby thing on HBO about we need to talk about Bill Cosby. It was the same thing. Another scold, a conservative scold, telling everybody to pull your pants up and shit like that. He wanted everybody to call him Dr. Cosby. First, he got an honorary degree. Okay, whatever. Then he made a big deal about going to university because I guess he felt, he thought it would trigger the libs or something. And he paid people to write his papers. He never went to class. They interviewed his professors. They said he never came to class. And they interviewed the writers on his show. They said, the 2 writers said we had to write his papers for him. That was part of the job. So, but he wanted to be called Dr. Cosby. Not that he fucking earned it, but that's who they are. They want to talk about the dignity of work and entitlement mentality. That's them. It's these rich people at the top, these conservatives. And if it doesn't, Bill Cosby's not white, but he may as well have been, or be. He's not dead yet, but that was his shtick. Making white people feel good about the civil rights marches and the fire hoses and the dogs and the... We're not going to talk about that. We're going to say, you ever notice when you put 2 socks in the dryer, one comes out? Hey, where's it go? White people, it happens to black people too, but anyway. I know, and then he did Fat Albert. That was good. And then that was the other thing. He started to be more of a behind the scenes, supposedly, helping people with darker pigment in their careers. But he also raped a lot of women. That's what's fucked up. I think that kind of negates the goodness. And he, it's also very sick that we need to talk about. It's not just that he raped them. He wanted them unconscious. I think that's sick. He's like a necrophiliac. That's what that is. You want people to be out of control and effectively dead. Except, you're not killing them. Well, thank goodness for that. But maybe given another time, it would have been like a fucking Ted Bundy. If he didn't have the power and the money. That's very disturbing. And apparently everybody knew it. But they were making money off of him, so okay. Dr. Cosby. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that sick? It's so sick. You want somebody who's like a corpse. That's fucked up. Wow. Where did that fucking damage begin? I know I'm cursing a lot, I know. How did that happen? What is wrong with you? And not just one. I mean, all of the women that have come forward, that's a drop in the bucket. There are more women. And you notice how you need like 50, 60 women, right? I know something happened to those women, Susan Collins would say. But I don't think it was Bill Cosby because he gave me a lot of money.
To the football game or the baseball game or the concert,
you going to the football game, the baseball game, or the concert isn't in the Constitution, is it? You have a constitutional right to go to the football game, the baseball game, or the concert? No. We could set those ground rules. Just like you don't have a constitutional right. And in fact, it's against the law to get your drink on and get behind the wheel because you might hurt somebody. Not that, the freedom to drive your ass home from a bar. I'm free. So what? Oh, well, that's the same thing. Call an Uber, call a cab, call a friend. Don't go out. I don't know. You see what I mean? They want to endanger everybody. They don't give a shit. But their arguments are inconsistent and they're stupid, of course, but they don't need consistency. They just need somebody to validate their ignorance and their racism. And they get validated all the time because people vote for them and I get who voted for her? They need help. Jesus Christ. This is all a result of money in politics. Make no mistake. Yes, Mark C on the chat. Susan Collins is always so concerned. How's she going to feel when they overturn Roe v. Wade? In spite of the American people. That's Republicans. They're shoving it down our throats, as they always do. They shoved that Amy Coney bitch Barrett, Amy COVID Barrett, Beer Bong Brett down our throats, Neil Gorsuch down our throats, and now they're going to shove an unconstitutional assault on our personal liberties and I've said this before, it's in the Constitution. I mean, the Roe versus Wade was decided on privacy. Do we have the right to privacy? Who is this person that keeps fucking saying the same thing? What do you guys think about Tara's show? What do you guys think about Tara's show? What do you think about Tara's show? What do you fucking think about it? What do you need? What? I don't know. What answer are you looking for in the chat? What do you? It's the whole thing. What do you think about Tara's show? You got anything else? I mean, I hope you like the show and keep coming back. It works if you work. It's a work if you're worth it. But I'm just looking at the chat and I see the same message, the whole chat. What do you think? Well, obviously they like the show. They're here. They're conversing, right? Just join the conversation and say, oh, okay. If you don't want to join the conversation, I don't just sit and hang out, have a cup of coffee or whatever. Join shapingprogress.org. Click the like button, subscribe, go to FYI Nation, become a patron at patreon.com, stuff like that. That's it. Paradu is keeping an eye out. Okay, good. No, I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm not. I'm glad you're here. I am. I'm just wondering why you keep asking the same question. What is fibromyalgia? Well, there's a thing called Google, and it really works. It's like it's a form of rheumatoid arthritis, but it's, I was reading about it today because I was like, where the fuck did this come from? Fiber, because I have it now. Great. I don't know. I hope it's fibromyalgia. That's what the doctor said. It is a condition that causes pain all over the body. So not only do I have a soul pain living in the United States of serfs and lords, now I got pain all over my goddamn body too, physical. Also referred to as widespread pain, sleep problems, fatigue, and often emotional and mental distress are accompanied. Well, you have widespread pain and you live in a almost fascist dictatorship. You will have emotional and mental distress too. How does a person get fibromyalgia? Symptoms often begin after an event such as physical trauma, surgery, infection, or significant psychological stress. Do you think saying please become a patron for fucking 2 years might be stressful? I don't know. I think it is. In other cases, symptoms gradually accumulate over time with no single triggering event. Women are more likely to develop fibromyalgia than men. Well, that's because we take everything on our, I don't know. Men take things on too. Fibromyalgia is typically not life-threatening. Well, that's good. But can affect day-to-day activities. Pain, fatigue, lack of sleep that occur can impair the ability to function or concentrate. Patients may feel frustrated due to their condition, and this can lead to anxiety or depression. Well, welcome to my nightmare. It's like they're reading my goddamn diary. Yes, that's how it happened to me. I don't know. It just started happening. I didn't know what was wrong with me. It was concerning. I started feeling pain all over. And it started one morning. I woke up, I got out of bed, nothing and my spine hurt in a very weird way that I had never felt a pain before. And I was like, what is this? What did I do? And then it just started all over. And look at who's here. Hi. Look who came to be my emotional support. Here. I know, honey. Sit. You sit, honey. Tara Jr. Everybody is here. Look at how cute he is. All right. He's a little drugged. I gave him some drugs. I know. He's on the same drugs I'm on, but he gets very loopy. I don't feel anything. I'm not on any narcotics, obviously. I'm on, what is it? Gabapentin, which is what he's on. Sit down, Mama. No, don't say no. You just sit and be good. I taught you. I taught you how to be good. Now show me. All right. And thank you, Pookie's Mama Irene, for your super chat. Pookie's Mama Irene says, I love Tarabuster show. Look at him. He is so good. Isn't he? Mwah. I just had to kiss him. Speaking of not kissing something.
Your vaccine passport, because we're trying to do a good job to keep everyone safe. This is what the Biden administration is trying to talk to these private companies into doing. Well, let's analyze that. You see, it's still the same thing. It's still fascism or communism, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, she's dumb. We know a dumb bitch when we see one. What's the difference? Okay, let's go through it. We bring the receipts. What's the difference between communism and fascism? All right, here's a website. It's called diffin.com. While communism is a system based around a theory of economic equality and advocates for a classless society, fascism is a nationalistic, top-down system with rigid class roles that is ruled by an all-powerful dictator. Now, who's fascist? Who does that sound like? What does that sound like? Does that sound like the goddamn Trump cult? Of course it does, because that's what it is. These people are so fascist, they don't even know they're being fascists when they're calling for book burning. Oh, it's not just removing books from the shelves. They want to burn books. We played that clip of one of these idiots at a town hall meeting and one of the school board saying, as far as I'm concerned, just throw them all in the pyre and burn them. He thinks that that's like a cute little, yeah, I'm patriotic. Throw those books in the pyre. And it received applause. It's fucked up. Okay, so both communism and fascism originated in Europe and gained popularity in the early to mid 20th centuries. And if Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't know anything about history, much less reality, if she ever studied something other than someone, banging men who weren't her husband, then and being a douche, stalking AOC. I mean, she thinks she's AOC, but she's like the bizarro AOC, because AOC is not an idiot, yet she is, and very sick. Whispering, yelling into AOC's mail slot. Hello. How sick are you? God, on top of everything else. So, communism, to compare, communism, the philosophy, from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Free access to the articles of consumption is made possible by advances in technology that allow for superabundance. That's just their philosophy. Fascism. The state must gain glory through constant conquest and war. The past was glorious. That's another feature of fascism. And that the state can be renewed. The individual has no value outside his or her role in promoting the glory of the state. And look at these assholes. And you'll say, they are all about rugged individualism. No, they're not. That's another canard. They're full of shit. That rugged individualism, that's like their party of life bullshit. Try being an individual in the Republican Party. Look at Cheney and Kinzinger. They agree with these filthy fascists on every other point except January 6th. They that's the bridge too far for them, the big lie. But that's not enough. They need complete and utter obsequiousness, subservience to the state of fascism, to the Trumpanzee cult, to the dim leader. It doesn't matter if he's a con man. They're all con men. Hitler was a con man. All dumb. Oh, God. So when she's saying fascism, communism, whatever you want to call it, what are you... they're two diametrically opposed philosophies. It's like saying, I don't know, I want to go to heaven or hell, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter, same thing. I don't know, pick one. They're equal, exactly. Might as well just say hell, I don't know. Just spitballing it. Send me to hell, it's the same as heaven, whatever. Isn't it annoying? All right, what is the other thing I wanted to talk about? Here's, speaking of fascism, this really annoyed me, but, you know, there's no low too low for the Republicans. Glenn Younkin, okay, there's so many things I wanted to say. Just saying his name, all these things come flooding into my mind. Like today on the corporate media, I heard some corporate media mouthpiece on so-called liberal media talking about that the Republicans are gonna win the election or whatever, self-fulfilling prophecy thing, and why they are running to Trump. They were all punditrying and saying, well, it doesn't seem smart because Trump is a loser and all this, and they should be like Glenn Younkin, who just tickled Trump's balls a little bit, but he didn't go down on him. And but he, as if he's, they were saying he's a moderate. He was playing that moderate. He's not a moderate. He's an extremist, like the rest of them. He's a fascist. He's a liar. And because this country is filled to the brim and overflowing with willfully ignorant people, and it's starting from the top. They have large platforms like Whoopi Goldberg, like Joe Rogan, these stupid people. I agree with Whoopi sometimes, of course, whatever, but she's not that smart in a lot of ways. I don't know what she knows. All I know is that a lot of times when she's talking, I'm like, she's dumb. It's like knowing half the story is good enough, or less than half. And that's, nobody's going to educate them. They got money. They're done. You know what I mean? And everybody's going to give them why. Oh, well, please, just giving Meghan McCain a platform is another example. What the hell did she bring to the table? More stupidity, more arrogant, just loud arrogance, with nothing to back it up. And so Younkin what the hell here? Where is it? It's unreal. He ran as as fascists do. They are whatever they are to whoever they're talking to. You see what I mean? That's what Hitler did. And because this country is dumb, we don't teach these things. People don't know them unless you go and find it, unless you learn on your own. The Republicans they don't want people to learn about the rise and fall of Nazism in Germany. The farthest they will go is saying that Hitler was a socialist. This is what they'll say, because National Socialism, even though they know, we know, normal people know that Nazism had as much to do with socialism as the People's Republic of North Korea, the Democratic Republic of North Korea, has anything to do with a democratic republic. It was a word. It was something they felt needed, that the people wanted to hear. Fascism is diametrically opposed to communism. It was their nemesis. If communism was the same as fascism, of course these idiots don't know this, why were the fascists arrested? I mean, the communists arrested? Right after the Reichstag fire, which was a false flag. Of course, history's still... I mean, it's just it's not confirmed, but it's pretty much understood that the Nazis set the fire themselves to have a pretext to war. I mean, not to war, not just to war, but to consolidate power. And they used the Reichstag fire to arrest their political opponents, and that's the communists. The communists had there were two major parties at the time, and they were in the middle of an election, and one were the communists and the other were the Nazis, and they were in the middle of an election, and Hitler sent out his brown shirts and whatnot to arrest the communists. His political... I mean, it's just so... it's... What would happen? I mean, that's kind of like what Trump wanted to do, I guess, with the voting machines. Wait, hold on. The cat is sitting on my hands. You sit here and be good. But, yeah. What am I saying? What's going on? Anyway, so Younkin as... wait, hold on. Come on, kid. Go up here. Sit down. Sit in your producer chair. We'll do that so you can see him. So, Younkin, he wasn't straddling the Trump fucking whatever conundrum. He was saying whatever he thought the dumbasses needed to hear. He's a fascist, like the rest of them. And as soon as he got in office, he proved it. He started the same divisive shit. Like the first day he got in office, he started with this undoing the mask mandate and all this. Again, putting the people in schools, the teachers who are on the front lines, in danger yet again. And then when the school board had something to say about it and went to court, what did Younkin do? He tweeted, "Oh, isn't it terrible how the school board attacks the parent?" What he said was that the school board doesn't care what parents think. Oh, you think so? But it's another example of Republican divisiveness. Uh-oh, here he comes. He's coming back. Oh, no, he's going inside. He's probably going to eat something. You know what I mean? Because Republicans never miss the opportunity to divide people. And that's perfect. They don't give a shit because, like Younkin, he's rich. And Republicans think that if they vote for a rich guy, that means they're going to be rich. Even though, show me what policy is going to make them rich. Is it the tax breaks for the 1% again? Is it the income disparity and upward immobility? They don't even know that we can't have a democracy and concentrated wealth at the same time. It's unreal. So anyway, Younkin, because they are scumbags, and there's really no low too low for a Republican. They attacked this his account, Younkin's account. Actually attacked a 17-year-old kid. So, according to Younkin, now this is the update at 10. What is it? Oh, at 10. This story was updated at 10:44 p.m. It's not even 10:44. In my clock says 10:41 on February 7th. Yeah. Oh well. They're in 3 minutes into the future. Governor Glenn Youngkin expressed regret on Monday for a tweet sent by his official campaign account attacking a 17-year-old high school student. What a scum. Well, they attack everybody. There's no low too low. Oh, but if you attack if you attack Joe Rogan, and it's not even an attack, how you're not attacking somebody if you're just saying what they said and if people are having a feeling about it. Oh, that's an attack, according to them. On Saturday night, so this is what Younkin said. On Saturday night, an unauthorized tweet came from my campaign account. Oh, really? It's always, did somebody hack it? Was it an intern? That's how it's always Republican, party of personal responsibility, taking no responsibility. Whenever they get caught out there with their dicks in a vice, they're like, unauthorized, low-hanging fruit. Somebody, and they were immediately disciplined by, I had to trickle on them. I trickled in their mouth, in their eyes, all over the place. They learned the error of their ways. So he said, it was in a tweet, I regret that this happened and it shouldn't have. Yeah, right. You only regret it because other people, humans, actual humans, saw it and was like, this is fucked up. This is wrong. You're attacking a 17-year-old kid. But that's not the first time, and it won't be the last time. Remember, they go after the Parkland kids who survived the massacre. See, once you survive a Republican-inspired and enabled school shooting, you're supposed to, what? Maybe kill yourself, like I know of one parent who killed himself after Sandy Hook, after years of living in the country that allowed a Sandy Hook to happen, losing your child, a toddler, in this fucking blood-soaked country, a party of life, country of life, family values and shit, and having to endure the indifference, the greed, the Alex Joneses and the Republicans saying, your dead kid shouldn't get in the way of my right. Your what? Your right to join a well-regulated militia? Yeah. You still have that right. I had that right. That's why I took the oath. Unlike the majority of these scums. They're such vile people. And if calling them people, I am honoring them, but yeah. That's really a moniker they haven't earned. So he says, I regret this happened and it shouldn't have. I have addressed it with my team. Well, your team is low. It's filled with bottom feeders who are low and have no standards. Scumbags who attack kids. They don't know. They needed to be addressed about the standards of what's too low. How would they know? Because they never know. You never know what's too low for these pricks. You can lie to the dummies' faces. You can put out memes. I mean, the thing is, after Parkland, and they started attacking, who's that kid? What's his name now? The young man. Parkland. Survivor. You know what I'm saying. One of you guys on the chat will tell me. David Hogg, yes. They attacked him right from the jump. Something about him rubbed them the wrong way. It was because he was skinny and tall. You know what I mean? They didn't like that. That looks like a liberal to them. And he is a liberal. He's a normal person, a decent person, a smart person too. That's what they don't like. They don't like about that, about any of the kids. They want dumbass kids who are like, act like them. Act like the adults in the Republican Party. Like, let's go, Brandon. I'm a child. I'm a overgrown child. Who think that, if I were a prepubescent boy, I might think that Joe Rogan is funny. You know what I mean? Not an adult, not a grown-ass man. But, okay. They were attacking David Hogg right out of the gate. I remember seeing memes of him. Isn't that horrible? They're horrible. They're just goddamn horrible. An unauthorized tweet. And there was another time, well, it happens all the time. A Republican tweeted something about, it got out. There was a story about a constituent calling one of these filthy fascists on the phone, and they got one of their workers who she said, I have cancer. I've been surviving with cancer and battling cancer for 10 years, and you're making it impossible for me to get health care, and I have a pre-existing condition, a very expensive one, that prevents the 1% from being able to fly up in the air and jerk off in space. But, what can I do? I want to live. And he said, like, basically go fuck off and die. If I can't afford a nice shirt at at some designer place, I don't get it. That's what he said to this woman, a constituent calling for advice and telling these assholes, like, you're killing me, literally. And it got out. It was a story. The Lugan press, I guess, and according to them, reported it, and then they were like, oh, he's been disciplined, or we told he was fired. That was a rogue staffer that said that. Not that it wouldn't have been any single one of them. That's who they are. We live in this kiss up, kick down oligarchy. That's the way they like it. We don't have health care. That's because the rich have to get richer. You're nothing but a pawn from which to suck profit. Not just a pawn, a host. As these parasites fatten up, they just getting fatter and fatter. The sickness is that other hosts, are the ones cheering it on. They're like, go, yeah, suck harder. Suck. There are some people are still able to get health care. You know what I mean? All right. You're not sucking hard enough, billionaires. Here, suck me. That's the way they are. Here, suck me. As long as I could say the N-word. So Glenn Younkin says, I regret this happened and it shouldn't have. I have addressed it with my team. We must continue to work to bring Virginians together. Oh, that's why you tweet, why is the school board not listening to parents? Well, does a parent get to come in and say, everything, they approve everything that comes out of the mouth of teachers? That's why we have a fucking school board, and that they run for election. But that's another thing. Republicans are ruining that too. So in a tweet that was deleted more than 12 hours after it was posted, it took them 12 hours to get together and to say, this is wrong. Team Younkin, you better believe that if Trump or if they got a good response, they would, do you think it would have been taken down? No way. Or there would be this mea culpa. Well, and it's really a you culpa. It's somebody else did it. In a tweet that was deleted more than 12 hours after it was posted, the Team Younkin Twitter account posted a photo of Patrick Henry High School senior Ethan Lynn alongside former Governor Ralph Northam, juxtaposed with a racist photo from Northam's yearbook. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? So that means the kid was racist because the idiot, Younkin, the other guy, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying, wore blackface, but fucking 20 years before the kid was ever born? I hate them. Here's a picture of Ethan with a man who had blackface in his KKK photo yearbook. The tweet said it was a reply to Lynn's earlier posting. This is the 17-year-old of a VPM story regarding the resignation of a historical interpreter from Virginia's executive mansion who'd been focused on telling stories of enslaved workers. Well, you can't have that. That's critical race theory. Even though it's not. It's just history. Critical race theory is understanding the racist-ass freaking laws that created this kiss-up, kick-down oligarchy and continues to. The story and Lynn's initial tweet, which had been shared over 24,000 times, contained a mistake. VPM corrected the error on Saturday evening, and Younkin's spokesperson noted it over 2 weeks after VPM first contacted Younkin's office to verify the claims. Yeah, whatever. They're just horrible. Horrible. But horrible is their selling point to them. Yes, Steve Brown on the chat. Thank you so much for your super chat. Steve writes, progress has always come slow here in the nationalistic, superstitious, good old USA. Yeah. I just hope it comes quicker before we're done for good. We can't have a Republican win any house. The House or the Senate. Anyway, all right, I see the time. I'm going to have to go to bed now and get unconscious, but I think I didn't finish. There's other things. I'm not going to be able to do a show tomorrow, but I hope to be able to do a show on Wednesday. Okay, and then, of course, our Friday night show, our regular scheduled Friday night. But I just wanted to finish with the Dan Bongino thing, because just to clarify that what that fascist was talking about was the exact opposite. So, of what his propaganda piece was asserting. So, as to finish up with the Daily Beast article by Zachary Petrizzo? I know. I'm sorry. Okay. So they had the graphic and they twisted the numbers, which really, when you think about a mainstream network, this is not me sitting here with Tara Jr., the producer. We wouldn't make this mistake. You have to be you really have to try. You know what I mean? To be this wrong. They took the stats and they flipped them exactly to mean the exact opposite of what they are. So, hold on. The cat's sitting on the keyboard again. I know. Oh, man, it's hard when you're sitting on the keyboard. Alrighty. Let me see. You look at some of the health outcomes in these inner cities, and the Democrats have run monopolistically for decades, and you stand a pretty good darn chance of dying in these inner cities. Keep saying inner cities, because the old crackers who watch this channel, like longing for the good old days of when they used to ride with the KKK, now they can only sit in their socialist security provided wheelchairs and long and say the N-word. The network attempted to clean this up on late Saturday night by removing the graphic during a rerun of the program. But the piece still ran. Following publication, a Fox News spokesperson told the Daily Beast that the network intends to issue a correction on next week's program. Let's see, but too late. It's out there. The morons will believe it and continue to vote for their own demise. So the health, I was trying to find, I had another article which had the actual health, maybe it's this one. The actual stats. Oh, here it is. So the actual unhealthiest cities named in this analysis cited, it was put together by Wallet Hub, are, see, Bongino said it was San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, San Diego, Honolulu, Washington, D.C., Austin, Austin, Texas, a blue bastion. The actual unhealthiest cities named in Wallet Hub in this analysis are Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, Mississippi, West Virginia, and Tennessee. What do they all have in common? Well, they all have asshole Republicans or wannabe Republicans like Joe Manchin representing them. That's why they're dying from despair, suicide, drug addiction, alcoholism. And unlike Hunter Biden, they don't have the courage or the opportunity and the means to get help. Because Republicans have pulled their lifelines. Unreal. Still, Bongino scapegoated Democrats for running unhealthy cities. The second time around, his Dem attack narrative was presented over videos of apparently homeless people in unidentified locations. And that's what propaganda looks like. And God, it's all propaganda. Right? Everything that they do is propaganda on there. And on the so-called liberal media, it's corporatist propaganda. That's why all we get is polls. My God. Yeah, exactly. Pookie's Mama Irene on the chat says, how do you accidentally get all of that wrong? And I'm telling you, you don't. Because you guys know I work in media. And I have worked on live TV shows and live news shows. And there's no way you get that accidentally wrong. They're not, I wouldn't get that wrong. You know what I mean? And it's just me and Tara Jr. as the producer. They did that deliberately. And that's what Fox so-called news is. It's a propaganda. It's just like Der Stürmer. It's like the Nazi rags. That there is a reason Hitler took over the media. The first thing that the Nazis did when they not when they got power eventually, but when they were a fledgling bag of rats, they bought a newspaper. That was the first thing, because they couldn't win without it. You can't win without the media. That's why Murdoch, it was Roger Ailes who proposed to Nixon GOP TV. And that's why Rupert Murdoch is the pimple on the ass of the body politic. And actually, that's what I thought of when I watching these fascists fight over Joe Rogan. I think I tweeted it. Let me see. How'd I put it? It was like watching capitalists or what? Wait, where is it? Where is it? How did I put it? Let me see. It was let me see. Hold on. I can't find it. Anyway, it was like watching capitalists fight over the pus coming out of the body politic, coming out of the ass of the body politic. That's what it reminded me of. Two sick, like two diseased rats fighting over the pus coming out of the ass of a diseased body politic. Am I wrong? No. That's what that is. But yes, let me tell you, when you're working on a news show, there are levels of approval before anything gets on air, including a graphic. So his script, that goes through, it's not just the script writers. It's not just the host. Even though the host gets script approval too. And they host sometimes even writes the scripts. I doubt he does. I'm sure Rachel Maddow does. I'm sure Chris Hayes does. And they even the host, if the host writes something, it goes through fact checkers, and then it goes to lawyers. It goes to, there are gatekeepers if you are following standard journalistic practices. Everything has to be approved before it gets on air. It's not like people are overworked. There are people that are, they work on different shows across a network, but there's no way that would get through accidentally. There's absolutely no way. They do it. That's another example. It's a propaganda network meant to make people vote for their own demise, to make them stupid and make them fight amongst other people who they should be allying with. And they're there to misinform. It's like Joseph Goebbels reincarnated, but all over the place. Ugh. Ugh, boo, boo. Oh my God. Haiku, they'll make us have a portrait of Trump in every home. That's right, because of freedom. That's why I keep thinking. Usually, in a normal time, the new president would preside over the unveiling of the portrait of the former president, right? Is there a portrait of Trump hanging in the White House? There better not be. There better not be. That bitch is coming down. Like that friggin' Melania portrait. Oh my God, what a bitch. Let's just look at that for a minute, and then we'll call it a night. And because this is another example of how effed up this country is and how stupid the idiots are if they think that these people give a shit about them. Oh my God. First of all, what? Where is it? Wait a minute. Where's my eCam? Where's my eCam? I lost it. I lost my eCam today. Oh, here it is. Look at this. First of all, this is the official First Lady portrait. Look at those dead effing eyes. Why don't you wear a thing that I don't really care, do you? Not only did she have dead eyes, look, I'm not kidding, dead. That's what happens when you sell your soul to a con man. Well, she's just as bad. Back in the day, remember when people would be like, free Melania? It was a tongue-in-cheek joke, but she's on board. She always has been. She's a racist like her con man idiot that climbs on top of her. Could you imagine letting him? Ugh. Poor Stormy. Did I tell you? I did. I told you the story. That, oh wait. Oh, and this is the other one. This is what you wear in your official portrait. This diamond in a country where the American people 80% are living check to check, and this bitch wants to show off her wealth because that's all they are. Look, I'm rich. She don't give a shit about you. She's manicured and coiffed within an inch of her freaking life. And what is this background? The whole thing. It's like, ugh. Vile. Well, she has no taste. I'm not saying I do either, but I know that it's pretty gross to be. She thinks it's like Imelda Marcos. That's what that is. And another example of the oligarchy. Ugh. Normalizing it. Normalizing the income disparity. Normalizing selfishness. I don't really care, do you? Normalizing. Forget Eleanor Roosevelt. Oh my God. She must be. She's doing somersaults in her grave. Right, the Amityville Horror House. Pookie's mom Irene says the background looks like the Amityville Horror House. It does. But it's tone deaf and out of touch. That's the problem. There's nothing humanizing. It's not about beauty. It's about opulence. It's about being ostentatious with your wealth because you get value from that. You have no value as a human being. All your value comes from outside shit. And that's what they're trickling down on the idiots. Yep. Mark C says it's a classic let them eat cake portrait. Yep. That's right. Errol Thomas says, Pookie's mom, I still love the 1978 original. That's what it looks like, too. Like something out of, like Jacqueline's. I think there was a Jacqueline Smith portrait that looked similar. Let me see. Smith. Let me see. Trump. I can't find it. Be best, though. I'm trying to be best. Or maybe it wasn't Jacqueline Smith. It was one of the Charlie's Angels. I remember seeing something. Be best. Ugh, even that. Be best. What a stupid thing. What a stupid... It's my and that she was... her thing was anti-bullying. I need to get unconscious. It's like living in a funhouse mirror. That's not fun. Be best. All right, guys, be best. Oh, it does look like a Hustler cover, Jim. Jim says on the chat. Ugh. Right. Pookie's Mama Irene reminds us that she stole Michelle Obama's speech. That's right. That's who they are. They're derivative, except they suck. They steal everything. They have no original ideas. That's why he never brought anything to the table. They have no original ideas, and they lack the maturity or the ability to function in a democracy. That's why he wants to be a dictator. It's easier. Trump, not just Trump, Bush wanted to be one. They all did. It's all been leading to this point. Be a hell of a lot easier if I were a dictator, or if this was a dictatorship. Just as long as I'm the dictator. Yucky to yuck. Yuck. Oh, I'm just kidding. Right. That's when, back in the day, we've been screaming about fascism for years. Mike Malloy, Robin Kincaid, me. Thomas says, my VA hospital has not put up a POTUS or vice POTUS pictures yet. Well, that's a little, not good. You should say something. Or... anonymous if you don't want to. I was annoyed one time. It was when Ted Kennedy died. The local post office didn't lower the flag half staff, and I went in there and I said something to them. Even I was not, Chappaquiddick. Okay, whatever. Cobra. Other things, yeah. But it was the disrespect. So I went in. I was like, there's a presidential order to fly the flag at half staff because of the death of Ted Kennedy. So fucking do it. And they did it. It's because they don't, they're petty little bitches. That's who they are. I don't know what was in the heart of the guy at the post office, but just a little shithole post office. And they lowered it. And I am in a pretty liberal part of town, but it's a diverse part of town. I live in AOC's district, so. Yeah, Thomas, it's been a year. They had enough time. Did they take the con man's pictures down? I hope, at least. But still, it goes to show you, it's disrespectful. And it triggers them. It's probably some douchebag who, stop the steal. Fucking traitors. Fucking traitors. I don't care. You wore the uniform. A lot of traitors wore the uniform. Timothy McVeigh. To name a few. And others. Okay. Alrighty. Trump, that's right. Trump never lowered this flag half-staff for John McCain. What a prick. What a petty little bitch. Really. They see how much they have denigrated us, but they denigrate themselves, although they bring us all down with them. That's the problem. It's like you're trying to swim. We're just treading water, and they're like grabbing us by the ankles, pulling us down to their sewer. Right. All right, guys. You're the best. And I need to go get unconscious. I really do. Remember, we will win. And I also want to thank Thomas Reynolds for coming on the show. Tune in to the morning show at FYINation.com. And Mark C. is going to be on the show Friday to talk about A Radical You, his website, and I don't know, getting our minds in gear. Getting our minds right. Because we need to take care of us mentally, physically, and spiritually. And Mark has got some opinions on that, and he's going to help us. And I think he said he's going to cure my fibromyalgia. I'm just kidding. I can feel it right now. I feel it. It sucks. It's not like bad, but it's just this constant pain, soreness. All right, I'm going to go lay down and hug my cats. I suggest we all do that and meet back here on Wednesday. People are all right. They're all flying off. I can see the viewers are dropping like flies. Okay, guys, we will win. That's right. Because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much. Thank you to the new patrons and the old patrons. And please share the show with your friends. Give the show a good review on iTunes. And I will see you probably Wednesday night.